If you value team, you go further faster because it's the way God works, and it's the way that growth works. But the unique thing about team in the context of Jesus, in the context of the way of Jesus and the person of Jesus, is it's the way that grace works. You know, this is really the distinctive of Jesus versus every other religious or spiritual path. Every other religious path basically goes by this formula. Here are the rules, and if you keep these rules, you get relationship with God, or you get the higher state of life that you're longing for. But you've got to keep the rules. But only in the way of Jesus, only in the Bible do we see a God who says, I recognize that you won't be perfect and you won't keep the rules, so I will close that gap. I will come, fulfill the rules you can't fulfill, and as you receive my grace, you get right relationship with me. It's this amazing, unbelievable thing called grace, and it is unique to the way of Jesus. And in this context of team, it looks like having a teammate who remains faithful even when we fail. Again, one of the stories coming out of the NFC Championship game was the incredible Seattle Seahawks comeback on the Green Bay Packers. Did you see that game? Oh my goodness. I mean, I thought that game was over a long time ago, and yet some amazing things happened in that game. And I believe that underneath what we saw on the field, there was a transcendent principle playing out with that team of grace. Russell Wilson, up to that point, had the worst game of his career. Through 4 interceptions, no touchdowns. He was struggling in a big way. His quarterback rating was 0. On the sidelines afterward, Russell Wilson was pretty emotional. So let's take a look at his sideline interview because it was a pretty moving piece for me.
Russell, just tell me, I mean, what are you thinking right now?
This God is too good all the time, man. Every time. These guys on this team are unbelievable, man. The fight, the relentless fight over and over again. The people used to doubt, man. I'm just excited to be on this team. I'm excited to play with the guys. I mean, 4 minutes left in the game, 3 minutes, 4 interceptions, and just keep playing. And these guys just keep believing in me, man.
I tell you what, there is a special power whenever grace is operating in a team. If you think that because you weren't able to keep the rules that somehow you're beyond the grace of Jesus, today, Jesus says to you, you're still my guy. You're still my girl. I know that you failed in a marriage, but you know what? My grace is sufficient for your failure.
Draws the applause.
I know that you stole the money and you think there's no recovery from that. I'm telling you what, my grace is sufficient for that. Jesus wants us to know that when you are on his team, you are always on his team. I love how it puts it in 2 Timothy chapter 2. It says, if we are faithless, and you know what? We will all be faithless because we have blind sides. But man, it's good news to know that when we are faithless, he remains faithful because he cannot and he will not deny himself. Every other spiritual path will fail you if you fail it, if you can't keep the rules. But Jesus is so different. And he offers a team that provides grace. And when you fail him, you know what he does? He forgives you. He redeems you. He restores you. I've seen him do that in my life. Reminds me of a song that we used to sing in the church that I grew up in. What a friend we have.
No.
What a friend we have in Jesus.
What a showboat.
All our sins and griefs to bear.
He's going to sing the whole song.
What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. I tell you what, it is amazing to think that you can have a friendship
look
with
at
God.
that, though.
Oh, my goodness.
The crowd
They're
rewards
encouraging
him.
But
it.
his grace
Wow.
is for all of us. And it's because team is the way that grace works.